All right, welcome to the channel. We've got confusion in the lightweight division, and hopefully we can clear some of that up as Gervonta Davis is rumored to have pulled out of a fight and fired his longtime trainer. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Gervonta Davis, who, according to StubHub, a fight against Lamont Roach, March 1st in the Barclays Center in New York. Unfortunately, Gervonta Davis came out and said that that fight is canceled. Man, it is only 6 weeks before that fight. They cannot cancel that for no good reason. But I was very, very happy to hear that Lamont Roach Sr. said that as far as he knows, that fight is continuing, and it is that the fight is going to continue, is going to be put on, and they're training like it's going to be on in the Barclays Center in New York. Now, I want to say a couple things about it because this is of Gervonta Davis's doing. And clearly Gervonta will go on Twitter, will say something that upsets him, and then he'll delete it. And it leaves a bunch of people running all over the place talking about, this fight with Lamont Roach isn't going to take place. Bad enough that you have people with Lamont, already saying Lamont Roach isn't a fight that they want to see, even though they probably never seen Lamont Roach fight, have no idea about whether it's a competitive fight or not. And really are some guys, if they're not going to, they're lying, number one, saying they're not going to watch the fight. Because they all these cats that yap about the fight always know what happened in the fight. So they may have streamed it, they may have done whatever to not buy the pay-per-view. But look, Gervonta Davis fights, whoever he fights, people are going to watch. And I'm telling you, be prepared for a Barclays Center record for attendance at that fight. That's going to be my prediction. I think Gervonta Davis already has the record for the Barclays Center, but do not be surprised if there's another attendance record over there for the Barclays Center for Lamont Peterson. I do not believe that fight is going to be called off. I just think it is Gervonta more than likely just doing something to spark conversation, because that's how he has been promoting himself through Twitter and Instagram for a while, and he does it very effectively with his whole tweet and delete thing that he has going on. So I'm not really putting much weight into that. But I am, when people say they believe he can break this record, which I do believe is his own record, that's going to be interesting to hear people come up with the same nonsense that they usually come up with when they say Gervonta Davis can sell out stadiums, he can set records in stadiums, but nobody buys his pay-per-views. I'm telling you ahead of time that is what's going to be said. That is what's going to happen. Gervonta Davis will set that record in the Barclays Center, and they will turn around and say that he did 10 pay-per-views. There will be more people that attend the pay-per-views than Rick Glazier and certain other people will give Gervonta Davis credit for even selling. So the fact that he said the fight is off, go back and think what happened in the last fight that he had with Frank Martin? Didn't Floyd Mayweather Jr. say the fight was canceled? Haven't they pretty much done that same thing for every fight? I think it is a way to generate conversation, and that's it. Lamont, and I certainly hope that Gervonta is dead focused in his training against Lamont Roach, because I think Lamont Roach is being very, very, very underrated coming into this fight. He's a lot better fighter than people think. Of course, they have a history from him being from DC and Gervonta being from Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland. And that's why I'm telling you, be prepared for an attendance record to be set in that Barclays Center in New York, because that is only a few hour trip from DC and from Baltimore. So you're going to have a lot of people from DC and Baltimore going into New York City for that fight. Now, Another thing that I wanted to talk about was this ridiculous rumor that Gervonta Davis has fired Coach Calvin Ford, and Kenny Ellis. Look, there is an industry on YouTube that literally goes around, or doesn't go around. They just continually put out negative information on Gervonta Davis, but you will notice that it is always the circle. It's always the same stuff. Gervonta's going broke. He's firing his trainer. He's upset with Floyd Mayweather Jr. He wants to fire Floyd Mayweather Jr. Now, eventually, he did move away from Floyd Mayweather Jr., but how many fights did people say that he left Floyd, he left Mayweather Promotions? It was like 4 or 5 fights before he actually said, okay, now I'm not going to work with Floyd Mayweather anymore. Well, I guess if you say it like enough times, like if you say every week he's going to fire Coach Calvin, he's going to fire Coach Calvin. I mean, I guess if you say that long enough, you might wind up one day where they don't work together. That doesn't mean that the 90 million times you were saying it for the last 6 years that you were right. But anyway, I just get a little bit tired of the type of attacks on Gervonta Davis that are not based in any type of reality. Now, I get a lot of sweat because people say that, oh, you're hard on Terrence Crawford, or you hate on Terrence Crawford. I don't run around talking about Terrence Crawford firing his trainer. I don't talk about Terrence Crawford's fights. Really have a problem with whoever he fights. I still support the fights that he chooses to fight. And I'm very, very clear that I think the guy has a tremendous record, tremendous resume, and is the best fighter in boxing. Now, if he does some things that I don't agree with, I'll say that I don't agree with them. But what is going on with Gervonta Davis is much different than just having a guy like myself who has an issue with the business practices that that Terrence Crawford shows. What you see with Gervonta is some people that just really want to see him fail and want to prosper themselves off of his failures in saying things that have no basis in reality. Like what I had mentioned before, and I'm guaranteeing you will see this again. Gervonta Davis will break a record at the Barclays Center for attendance, and you will hear that his pay-per-view flopped, despite him selling out the stadium and so many people being willing to travel from DC, travel from California, travel from Baltimore to go see it, that there are not a larger number of people that are willing to say, hey, maybe I don't feel like spending $6,000 or $7,000 on a trip to New York City. Maybe I just want to sit and cook, have a cookout, drink a little, sip a little wine. Some of y'all like that greenage, just, doing what you guys do. People don't, they're trying to tell you that that people are either going to spend the $7,000, right, to go to New York and stay in a hotel for a couple of days, get your food, do all those things, that those guys are going to be willing to do all of those things. But they will not buy a pay-per-view. Other people will not buy a pay-per-view. But then the day after the fight, everybody watched the fight. Now, I know that there are people that are going to steal it or going to stream it, but there's also people that will buy it. And I have to suspect that the 1 million people that bought Gervonta versus Ryan Garcia, some of those people are going to want to see Gervonta Davis fight Lamont Roach. And let me remind you that Gervonta Davis's last fight against Frank Martin did 400,000 pay-per-views. I expect Lamont Roach to do around the same. Now, if we want to have this big mega fight where Gervonta, is going to do these real big pay-per-view deals, look, there's got to be another fighter that's going to play his part in it. You can't blame him for the big four, right? Remember that the Four Kings stuff? He beat Ryan Garcia, but Teofimo Lopez left the weight class and is now looking to move to 147. And Devin Haney left the weight class and is now looking to move towards 147. What's Gervonta supposed to do? He's supposed to move up to 140 pounds 147 pounds, right? I don't think so. There's also a rumor out there about Gervonta Davis being willing to move to 140 to fight for the IBF title against Richardson Hitchens. Let me assure you, man. Let me assure you that people are going to say that so that they can tell you, well, Gervonta Davis was scared of Devin Haney at 140. He should have fought these guys when they were small enough to make the weight class. Now they can't. So Gervonta needs to move up and go chase him. Anyway, listening to the anti-Gervonta Davis stuff on YouTube it's wild sometimes. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.